2026 general elections. Mr. Kalaba, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Nick. Thank you for having me on this program. And good evening, our viewers, wherever you're watching us from.
Great. Nice to have you once again. We had you a few months ago. It's always a pleasure to see you here.
Thank you very much. I was just listening to introductory remarks as you're
right.
Them, and
well,
I was like, wow.
Yeah, viewers, we are also live on DSTV, channel 273, Go TV, channel 21, Top Star 103, Star Times, you can catch us on 543, and Zuku 58. You can also follow the conversation through our Facebook page, Prime Television Zambia. Post your questions or comments, and time allowing, we will be able to take or look at them during the program. Mr. Kalaba, let's start with your own words. Before the recent by-elections, and whenever you have spoken, you projected strong confidence, telling the nation that Citizens First would form government after the next general elections. Yeah. That's August 13, 2026.
Yes.
Then came Chawama, then came Kasama, your party, which you've been building for I think since 2026 or thereabout. 2016, sorry.
No. 2016, I was still minister.
2017, maybe?
2017, I was still minister.
All right.
The Citizens First was only...
Okay, around that time.
Around 2019.
2019.
That was when we had another party. The Citizens First is only 3 years old. It was birthed in 2022. Point of correction. I've been seeing a lot of misinformation flying around social media saying, he has been building the party 2016. I think people must take time to check history. And history will tell you that 2016, Harry was still minister at that time.
Okay.
2017, I was still minister.
Okay, so you've been building your party from 2018, 19?
From 2022.
2022.
Because the party which I had stood on last time, the UPND, managed to destroy it the way they are destroying all other political parties in this country.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that party you've been working on finished third in the 2 by-elections that we've just had. That was far behind the leading contenders, right? So let me just plainly put it to you. Was that confidence that you exhibited misplaced? Or is it just the voters simply not buying your message?
No. First of all, I want to tell you, and you must get these things very clearly. The confidence of the Citizens First forming government emanates from the fact that we are organizing our party day in and day out. The elections that are precipitated, or those that happened in Chawama as well as in Kasama, do not tell or do not put a verdict on which political party wins the elections. I have always said this, and I will say this again. By-elections are not a determinant of what is to come in a general election. Why do I say that? It is because the spirit that governs a by-election and the spirit that governs a general elections are 2 different spirits. In a by-election, take for instance Kasama, we had 15 cabinet ministers. In Kasama, we had 20 district commissioners. In Kasama, we had deputy permanent secretaries. We had political aspiring, UPND aspiring members of parliament, about 59 of them were in Kasama. Now, those aspiring members of parliament from various constituencies who congregated in Kasama will not be there on 13th August, because on 13th August, it's each one for himself and God for us all. Secondly, in a by-election, you pull resources and put them in one particular location. And that is why you find even a party that is as unpopular as the UPND could even score a few votes that they scored there in Chawama. This is because it is a by-election. The PF, when they were in government, they were winning by-elections. We had them winning in Sikongo. We had them winning places they should have not ordinarily been winning. And indeed, when the general election came, the PF flanked. So it is the same thing that will happen when we go on the 13th of August. For the citizens first, Nick, I think I would want you to take cognizance of this fact that when we participated in elections in 2021, in Kasama, both Lukasha and Kasama Central, we only managed to get 226 votes for both areas, Lukasha and Kasama Central. And when we had these elections, we had 4,405. So for a novice or for a starter who has not read the history right, they will think, oh, you have come a distant third, therefore you have lost. In that election, the citizens first did well. We did well because when you look at the percentage of growth, it is exponential. It is the same debate that we can take to Chawama, where we had 1,530 votes. When you look at what we had in Chawama in 2021, again it was a paltry 200 votes that we had. From 200, we jumped to 1,530 votes. You cannot call that lack of growth, or you cannot say that the party is not growing or the voters are not buying in the agenda of the citizens first. To the contrary, the voters have told you clearly that they are buying in the agenda. And for those who think, no, because we have come at number 3 in these by-elections, therefore Harry Kalaba will... It doesn't work that way. Kalaba is not the one, it's not Harry Kalaba's picture that was on the ballot. In August, it will be my picture that will be on the ballot. And the people of Zambia will be making a decision as to who should be head of state in this country. They will not punish me because the councillor that we fielded in Shabo Ward, in Inchelenge, did not win. No. The people are going to base it on how has Kalaba articulated the policies and how does he want to take the country from this level to the next level.
Yeah, you've touched on resources that were poured into that election by the government, the ministers and all that.
Abusing,
Yeah, but I mean, there were other opposition political parties as well that took part in that election. Yeah, and I'm sure you agree with me that they also faced the same people that had gone there with those resources. For instance, the FDD candidate. How come they managed to beat you with a very wide margin if you were contesting in the same election and up against these people with all these resources? Why didn't you come second?
Okay, not even why didn't you come second? Why didn't you come first? I think I have been explaining the reason why we could not have come. Listen, I think the CF is a very formidable political party. I think it's without question that the party is a very formidable political party. We are dealing with a party in government, and we're also dealing with a party that was once in government and booted out. And therefore, you don't expect a party that is building itself to just automatically overnight begin beating other political parties. But I can tell you that watch the space. Those who are doubting and they think that this is the end and the courts have ruled and now it's over, the CF will continuously come out third, that is not what the people of Zambia are budgeting for. The people of Zambia have got another budget. Watch what will come in August. And those who are thinking we're just talking the talk, they must look at the exponential growth.
No, I think that's
when you look, no, Nick,
yeah.
When you look at what even the so-called, because that is not FDD which was standing there, that was PF which was standing.
Well, PF is another opposition political party, yes.
Yes, very good.
Yeah.
They had scored about 59,000. 59,000 votes they got there in Kasama Central and Lukasha. The mayor who was there got about 59,000 votes, the late Teresa Kola.
In 2021, yeah.
Yes, in 2021. And now they scored, is it 14,000 something?
14, yes.
So I don't want to begin talking about them, but I leave that for you to make judgments. Even the UPN itself, they're about 25,000, and now they got about 17,000. There's a reduction from what they should have gotten ordinarily. Let's be fair. Let's give it the citizens first. They have demonstrated capacity, that they are consistent, that they are serious, and that they are not on the political scene to escort anybody. They are here to stay. They are here to make their case. They are here to save the Zambian people, and they are going to do that diligently, without fear or favor.
I like your confidence. Let's watch the space, like you say. Yeah.
Watch it and watch it very closely.
Yeah, okay, so let's move on. Political analysts still insist that the two elections the Chawama and Kasama were actually warning signs of what is to come in the next 6 months. They say these two by-elections...
6 months is a long way, Nick, eh?
in politics.
In politics, I'm happy you know that.
Right.
In politics, 24 hours is too long.
Right. Okay. So they're saying these two elections did not just expose citizens first. They've actually exposed the entire opposition establishment. What we saw once again was multiple opposition candidates splitting the vote, diluting their energy, and subsequently allowing the UPND to just walk through and win the Kasama by-election, for instance. Do you accept the results, as a clear show of what a fragmented opposition can do, which is, defeat for you, the opposition, and the win for the UPND?
I think we need to get this thing right. The by-election we had, as I told you, was characterized by the thought of corruption from the UPND. We have 218 polling stations. 218, both Lukasha and Kasama Central. In every polling station, UPND vale na wadi. Not Sayutu Alula. They were doing that through and through. Now, they will not have that luxury of doing that when we go into the election. So, the political pundits must take that into account, knowing very well, like I answered earlier, that you cannot say this is an indicator of what is going to happen because the opposition is divided. And in any case, Nick, there's been no time that the opposition in Zambia has ever been won. In 2011, when Michael Sata won the elections against an incumbent Rupiah Banda, there were about 11 presidential candidates. There were 10 opposition political parties that stood, and there was the President Rupiah Banda, who was the 11th. What happened? Sata was chosen by the people because eventually people said we're going to settle for this one. In 2020 and 2016, the same thing happened. We had several political parties.
Right.
Edgar Lungu won. In 2021, we were 16 of us who stood in that election. And the people still went for this same Makainde Hichilema was lamentably failed. They gave him an opportunity. Now, what am I saying? I'm saying that if the opposition does not get together, the people will still make that final verdict. And it cannot be said, it can never be true that because in this by-election the UPND won in Kasama, therefore the UPND again will win in the 2020 in August elections. The UPND is not going to win in August. The UPND is going to flank. And even themselves know. And I'll tell you, Nick, that the UPND has lost this election. They lost this election.
Which one is that?
The Kasama. They lost that election. Even themselves, they know. Looking at the volume of and the scale of monies they invested in Kasama, I mean, those guys pumped in money to get 17,000 votes with all the kind of money they put in. That is a loss.
Yeah, but
they are loss.
President Gala, how do you explain this? There is evidence here to say a fragmented, opposition doesn't just work. For instance,
I've just been answering your question.
Yeah. Let me just put across some figures. The same numbers that we know from Kasama. The total number of votes, garnered by the opposition, it was well over 20,000, and then the winning candidate from the UPND was at 17. So don't you see that as evidence that supports what the analysts are saying? If you stay as single entities, political parties, there is no way you can win. Look at what the figures are telling you. This is proper arithmetic. And why are we refusing when figures are there to tell us what
you know what you are
should
saying?
have happened?
You know what you are saying? What you are saying is like, if we can combine the Catholics and the Pentecostals and the SDA, we put them together, they will outnumber the number of people who are atheists or whatever paper out there. That's what you're trying to tell me. We have the Catholics, we have the UCZ, we have the SDA, we have these different denominations with the same purpose of reaching Christ, but they have got their own ways of how they reach Christ. It's the same, I think, at some extent. It's the same with like political parties. The ideologies are different, and this is where, Nick, I want to speak to our viewers out there. While it sounds a very fabulous idea of political parties amalgamating or coming together, it is just not a question of political parties coming together. It must be political parties with similar ideologies coming together.
Okay.
That's why you've got Democrats, you've got Liberal Democrats, you've got Republicans, and so on and so forth, because what they follow through are very different. Now, what you are trying to insist on saying, come together and then you beat this Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. Look, if the opposition came together, beat Hakainde Hichilema, and yet their ideologies are very different, what will happen is that you win an election and then a bigger fight erupts after you win that election. So what is critical is to stand on what Amos 3 verse 3 says. Unless two agree, they cannot work together.
Right.
So what is critical is, what are the ideologies? Which parties can go in sync? Don't just say, come together and win an election. It doesn't work that way.
So is there no party or parties in Zambia that share similar ideologies with CF?
Look, the Citizens First right now is in a working relationship with RDC. It's in a working relationship with the NDC. We are working with President Savoy and President Chansa. We are working with them because we are trying to see how our differences can be ameliorated. Now, that is the way you create cohesion. But when you want to force it the way I am hearing the debate here on this platform coming, no, if you had come together, you would have had these votes and these votes. I want to take you back into 2021. In 2021, I was invited, with all due respect, by the WASIS Forum. They invited me for a meeting where I found various political parties, and they said from their analysis, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema was going to win the elections that time, and that all of us maybe should come together and support Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. And for me, I had a challenge with that. I said, yes, I have taken note that Mr. Hichilema is likely going to win the elections because of the euphoria that has been created. But the truth of the matter is that Mr. Hichilema is not capable of running a country effectively. And so I said, maybe for me, I should be politely. I said politely, so please exempt me from being one of those that are going to back Mr. Hichilema to become president. Yeah, but he's going to win. I said, let him win, but without my support. What I have never agreed in my life is to side on the side of convenience. To do things just because you want to do this, therefore, let's all come together and do this. So when you do this, and then what? And then what? Our focus must be service delivery to the people of Zambia.
Right.
Our focus must be, when we come into government, what are we going to do for the people of Zambia? Because as you and I are seated here, the country's health system is degenerating. Namukwata abantu lelo nga afuirwa omuntu. When somebody bakwate chirilo and you are supposed to choose an administrator, instead of going to local court, mwasala administrator now, number kuya ku high court, and you're supposed to pay 5,000 kwacha or 3,000, whatever, but you pay now huge amounts of money for you to go and get an administrator. Ukulelila, and on the other side they're asking you to go to the high court just to go and get an administrator. Because local court, what they used to do is the side of the man here, or is the side of the woman here. Once you okay, administrator, yes, pum 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 pum. Within 1 hour now, push and you go. But this government, because it does not care for the people of Zambia, it has gone ahead. Ukuchusha abantu abalelosha. Ukula nomba kwa administrator kwa high court. If you are staying in a place like Kumungwi, where there's a local court, you can't be in Mungu. You have to travel 40, 50 kilometers.
So this is new legislation you're referring to, right?
I'm talking about the UPND.
Yeah,
this thing is of years. It's 3 or 4 years ago. This thing that they brought in my UPND.
Right.
Because they have got no feelings for the people.
I just wanted to give background so that the viewers can follow.
I'm just trying to tell you how this country has degenerated. You have a situation when it comes to the civil service, where I was myself, as you know. You have a public service worker who is supposed to qualify for the pension scheme. I think minimum service should be 20 years in service. If you die before 20 years minimum service, even if it's 19 years that you have saved, the government is not going to give you a pension. They say you did not reach the minimum 20 years for you to be given a pension. They'll only give you your own contributions which you were making. Now, these are things that the CF wants to come and correct. We cannot allow that. Whether you die at the age, whether you die in your first service or second service or third service or 17th service, you have not yet reached the 20 years, the government must say, okay, here is your 20 years gratuity, but we are only going to pay you for your 17 years of service that you worked for. That is what we are going to do when we come into government as Citizens First, because we want service delivered to the people of Zambia, not these jokes we are witnessing right, left, and center.
Right. Okay. Let's just go back a bit onto the unity among opposition. You seem to say or suggest that the problem is more on principle than what people seem to suggest. To say ego is one of the major issues that has made it so difficult for the opposition to come together. Each one of them, all the leaders in the opposition want to be president. Would you agree with that notion?
So I will agree with it. I think that's why they formed their parties. They didn't form parties. I don't know why others formed parties, but the Citizens First, we had a conference, and when we had that conference, they elected Harry Kalaba to be the presidential candidate for 2026. And we have never been against any alliances ourselves. We support alliances. If you remember, Nick, I am one of the founders, together with President Savoy, who started UKA. The reason why we started UKA was the fact that we wanted to bring amalgamation because there is strength in unity.
Yes.
And we thought we should go with it. But UKA did not work out. And when UKA collapsed, I told the late President Lungu, may his soul rest in peace, I did tell him, I think for now, the Central Committee of the Citizens First has directed that I remain in UKA and I shouldn't move to any other alliance. Because they told me, if it doesn't work well with you in UKA, we'll just recall you. And you focus your energies on making the Citizens First stronger. And when we saw that there was inertia in UKA, the Central Committee sat and recalled me and said, can we be now in CF and concentrate all your energies in growing the Citizens First? Now, that goes to show you that we are interested in unity. I have heard people saying, Kalaba tafu kubombana wanangwe. Kalaba is pompous. Kalaba thinks that he is almighty.
Are you pompous? Are you pompous, Mr. Kalaba?
I'll leave that for you to judge.
What do you think about your character? Are you a pompous person?
No. You are talking to a very humble person here.
Right.
Being principled and being pompous are two different things. I am only a principled and very serious person myself. I'm not a joke. I'm a very serious person with what I do. So when you stand your ground and say this is wrong, this I will not do it, that is pompous. He thinks he should just be the only one to be president. But then I tell them...
That was my next question, actually.
Yes. Yeah. But then I ask a question, Nick. You want me to join alliances. Tell me which alliance I should join. Tell me which alliance I should join. Because you don't want me, who is in a political party that is making progress, that is stable. Nishenga and Dayandi is stable. I go in a place where people have not agreed on, even amongst themselves, on how they should progress. And because I have to play politics of convenience, I should say, okay, colleagues in the Central Committee have come back to you. I'm proposing that we go back to go and join these alliances where there is confusion. I think they will think that the president there's something wrong with it.
Yeah, probably the confusion out there, in those alliances you're referring to, is as a result of people like you staying away. I mean, they would want to benefit from your brains and help them resolve those
I'll tell you that problems. Even without
staying away is not helping, maybe.
No. Nick, I'll tell you that even without being part of any alliance, the so-called alliance that we're talking about, because I also belong to my own grouping, even without being part of those alliances, when there was a by-election in Kawambwa for the mayor, the Citizens First withdrew and gave chance to our colleagues in PF to field their candidate. and they went ahead. When there was a by-election in Kawambwa, again the Citizens First withdrew and gave chance to our colleagues in the PF to field a candidate. We did the same in Mwansawombwe. We withdrew to give them an opportunity. So we reached a point of saying, we are always the ones who are giving, and nobody's giving us an opportunity.
Is this why you decided to
At
go
the end of the day,
into Chawama and Kasama?
I didn't. The Central Committee of the party decided. I told you when we were withdrawn, I was withdrawn from UKA, the Central Committee of the party decided that we'll be participating in elections. This is a Central Committee resolution. Harry Kalaba doesn't run the party by himself. There is a Central Committee meeting, which will be meeting on again on Wednesday. They are meeting. They review these things. And for now, as things stand, they said, first of all, organize your party. Because how does it look, Nick, that you are a properly married woman in a house? To your husband. You leave your husband oko waweka. Wayaupo in a polygamous marriage, that's why you go and join, you leave your own. Then something is not adding up. You cannot leave a place of stability and you go into confusion. So when you are asking somebody like me to say, join an alliance, I think let's be fair. Let's be fair. Are you suggesting that we should go into these alliances even before our colleagues settle matters within themselves? We don't want to be accused as Citizens First. Tomorrow we go in a place of an alliance where they're still fighting amongst themselves. We'll be accused of siding with one faction instead of another faction. We are not interested in siding with factions. We are interested in mobilizing the citizens first and making sure the party grows and call and heed to the call that the citizens are making there. We need to save our people who have been disadvantaged by the current regime.
I know you've touched so much on the kind of alliances that you'd be interested in, but I wanted us to summarize it nicely. What does unity mean for you? Is it, in practical terms, is it one candidate? Is it a shared manifesto, or is it some kind of governance pact for you? How should it look like?
That's a very broad-based question you're asking. There's what they even call unity in diversity. You can still be united, but in diversity. You are there with your own political grouping. I'm here with my political grouping. The other one with the political grouping. But on matters of mutual interest, you converge and say, look, what is this that we are hearing that the UPND is still issuing voters' cards or is still issuing NRCs in areas they consider their strongholds? I'm giving an example. You converge and you discuss issues that are bipartisan, issues that cut across political parties. You sit around and discuss them. That is unity in diversity. But there's also unity. That's why there are coalition governments.
Yep, right.
That's also unity. You go with your party, then you agree. Okay, you are going to be president. Me, I'll be prime minister. You are going to be minister of defense. You'll be minister of foreign affairs. Okay, me from Citizens First, we are going to have 10 cabinet ministers in this government. That is also unity.
Right.
There's also unity of saying, no, all of you can you just dissolve in one thing. That's also unity. All of you stop your political ambitions. Can you get into one thing and do one thing? That's also unity. So for us in the Citizens First, we believe that unity that can bring people together is critical. That is why we went in UKA. That is why I have been reaching out. And by the way, Nick, maybe I'm the only one who's reaching out to others. Because from where I stand, tell me any political leader I've not reached out to talk to them. I have reached out to Makebi Zolo. I've talked to Makebi. I've reached out to Given. I've even gone to his house. I've reached out to Fred. I've even been to his residence. So I've reached out to Brian.
What is the message you're taking when you reach out?
When I reach out to them, I always tell them, colleagues, we have got only one Zambia. And they will attest to that. We have got only one Zambia. And whatever we do, it must be in the interest of that country. Now, when I hear people shout or scream to say, no, Kalaba is selfish. Kalaba is pompous. Kalaba is... Maybe my colleagues, you that have been reaching out. The other day I was talking to Mao Samba. I was talking to Jean Kapata. The other day I was talking to Nkandulu. I'm talking to everybody. Stephen Kampiongo were together in Mungwi, even in Kasama, Honorable Mtotoka Fuaya. We are reaching out to everybody. Everybody we are reaching out to. So when people say, no, Kalaba is not reaching out, Kalaba is pompous, he doesn't want to reach out to others, then you see malice in there.
Okay.
You see malice. Working hard. Because the truth of the matter is that we have worked hard. We put in a lot of work. Nick, to get even 200 votes in a by-election without depending on the fallen heroes is not a mean achievement. It is not a mean achievement. We are creating something from nothing and building capacity every day across the country, not only in Lusaka. You go to Chilabombo, you'll find the structures of the citizens first. You go to Ndola, you'll find us. You go to Kalushi, you'll find us. You go to Mansa, you go to Kasama, you go to Mpika, you go to Solwezi, you go to Minilunga. We are there. This is huge work that we have put in. And we continue saying, we are one Zambia, one nation. We want our country to be united. We don't want a divided Zambia.
Right. So would you be ready, with all those people that you've been reaching out to, would you be ready to work under any of those, say running mate to any of those?
I have said this time and again, and I want to say it here.
Again.
On your public broadcaster here.
Please do.
That if the people of Zambia tell me, Harry Kalaba, it is not you that should be the president, we want another person, so be it. You are talking to a person that is very radical. I was foreign minister, and I walked out on that position when I didn't agree. How many people would walk out on such a position? How many? I walked out when I realized that I don't want to compromise myself. Parliament had not even given gratuity. I lost part of the gratuity myself for walking out of Parliament. I didn't even think about the resources, the monies which were there. I just said, if I don't agree, I'm not going to pretend that things are right and then I should sit there so that I can wait for gratuity to come. That is not the way I do my politics.
So how is this message supposed to be delivered to you, to say, oh, President Kalaba would want you to give chance to this person?
To who? Tell me. We want you to give chance to this one, and then you give me the reasons. We are giving chance to this one, and then I'll say, on whose mandate?
Because I heard you say people. If people tell me,
if people, yes.
How are they going to tell you that?
If people, my colleagues in the party are very frank. They'll tell us, I think our president, we are not up to it. You're not up to it. I think the one who should be, I think, is Nick Shabodi. Let him be the president. Then I'll say, oh, colleagues, because you've said that, Nick, the CF has given you the task. Come and do your takatakas here. We say what you're going to do here. And then we make progress. But it cannot just be a question of the one who shouts louder, or the one who posts many pictures on Facebook, or the one who traverses, goes there and comes back and says, the people want me. There has to be empirical evidence. And by the way, it is easy to say you are strong when you have found a structure already created for you. It is easy, Nick. Ask Mr. Shaw, your boss here at Prime TV. The proprietor here. Ask him. It is not easy to bring Prime TV to be at the level where it is today. He has gone through a lot for it to even to be like this. He has gone through a lot. Why? And yet, it is easy for somebody working at ZNBC. You just walk in. Everything has been laid for you. You will also be going to read the news and people will see you that, oh, they're also reading. But the person that built it to the scratch and be where it is has to be given a lot of kudos. It's a lot of work.
Right.
A lot of sacrifice done. So it is easy if you go to other political parties where they have already been formed and then you say, I want to stand on this party. Therefore, if you become, then it is easy. But start your own and let's go and see if you're going to get even 5 votes there.
Okay, so I just want us to touch on the Tonse Alliance because it
but I'm not Tonse.
I know it was created by the late President Edgar Lungu, whom we saw that you closely worked with. So this is why I would want you to speak to that. It was created precisely to avoid the opposition fragmentation, which is what we are seeing today. I wanted to pick your mind on what your position or what your feelings are about the current state of this umbrella, organization that was created by somebody that you worked with closely.
I'll tell you that I am very incompetent to comment on Tonse, and I'm very careful. I don't want to injure the feelings of my colleagues who are in there, and I don't want to take away anything from my colleagues who are in there. Because when you say Tonse, which Tonse am I commenting to? Which Tonse am I talking to? Because there are claims going around that there is this is the legitimate Tonse. Others are saying that's the legitimate Tonse. So the moment I begin to talk to a particular Tonse, I might already begin injuring the feelings of my colleagues. So I don't want to be the one to begin fighting a battle which is not mine. I have got enough battles in the Citizens First.
Yeah.
Let me deal with those battles.
Yeah, but I would like to believe, just like all of us have been following the way the events have been unfolding in that alliance, you have also equally been following. So you'd have an opinion of your own in terms of which of the factions is legitimate.
That is not my job, Nick. That's not my job.
No, I mean, you're a politician. You have a stake in the...
You are being very unfair on me, honestly, Nick. You are being very unfair.
Really?
And even before the program, I told you that things like that, I really would not want to get entangled. Why would I start commenting on another person's home? Honestly, why? Because even them, if you ask them to talk about the Citizens First, I don't think... Comrade Luwinda or Comrade Brian Mundubile would want to talk about the Citizens First. I think, with due respect, they will have some measure of respect for the organization.
You're competitors. I mean, you're all looking for power in the state.
But why would I be the one to start saying this is the legitimate Tonse?
On whose
authority will I do that?
It's your opinion, President
Kalaba.
Nick.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I refuse to be dragged.
All right. Okay, we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there.
Let them sort it out themselves. Let themselves, because those are family members. Don't go and wasanga abantu babiri balelwa benini lupwa epo ya full day jacket ati nende support oyo vala kuchene namo. So let them sort out what is in their house. Once they sort out what is in their house, then all of us now can begin talking and say, okay, they have sorted it out. Because at the end of the day, these things of taking sides before you understand what exactly the problem is, they have got consequences.
Right. Okay,
so wisdom requires that
you wait until you understand.
You wait until you understand what is going on. And I can only say, given the opportunity you have given me, I can only say I wish them unity. I would want to see a united force so that we can begin talking to them.
Right.
If they're united, things become easier.
Yeah, that is
but
what...
if they are not united, if there is that kind of thing within their house, it's difficult to have a conversation.
So there is an opportunity. If they go together, they got united.
If they got united,
for CF to
why not sit down? I mean, they are political players. Why not sit down with them and chat?
Exactly.
But for the Citizens First, we would not want to begin taking sides. We want to concentrate. You have just been saying you came a distant third, you came a distant third. So it is now our task to ensure that we learn lessons from Chawama, learn lessons from Kasama, pick ourselves up.
And what have you learned from the two by-elections?
What we have learned is that the UPND is very corrupt in the way they do their politics. But also we have also learned that we need to put in a lot of hard work. On a very serious level, we need to put in a lot of hard work in terms of structure formation. Our structures were a bit fragile. They need to be strengthened. And I'm happy to tell you that we are strengthening those structures. We'll make sure that we strengthen structures in Kasama. We've asked Comrade Aaron Zimba in Kasama, our candidate for the mayoral by-election, to immediately begin going around. We've also asked our leadership, particularly the campaign manager, Dr. Alfonso, to also ensure that he moves with Comrade Aaron Zimba to do structures. Just today, I was talking to one of our councillors in Mafinga, Gift Kaonga. I was telling him, Gift, be serious with organizational structures there where you are,
Right.
because we need to be strong all across this country.
Yeah, so maybe lastly on unity and all that, let's imagine, elections come and, or rather, the opposition failed to unite. What next? What do you think will happen, or what should happen if it becomes clear that really there is no hope in going into this election as one? Are we still going?
What will happen is exactly what happened in 2020, in 2011, is what happened in 2021. We leave the decision to the people of Zambia to decide. The people will decide.
Well, I mean, dynamics are always different. We cannot be talking about what happened.
I am giving an example because you have to be a good student of history.
We have evidence
to
now,
extrapolate the
Kalaba,
future.
We have evidence now, like I tried to extrapolate.
Which evidence?
To show that a fragmented opposition, like I pointed out Kasama and all that.
There will be no time, Nick. I think Nick get this right. There will be no time. That's why they are called opposition parties. There will be no time that you will have a complete amalgamation of political parties. There will be no time.
Well,
maybe three parties.
What's a complete amalgamation?
It means nobody stands from the opposition. You only choose one candidate against the ruling Kainde Ichilema.
Well, I mean, of course, that wouldn't happen.
So there will be no time. So that will happen. What we should work at is to make sure that we scale down on the number of candidates that are going to stand in 2026. That is possible. And that is why we are talking ourselves to other political parties. That is why we are saying we pray for unity even in other political formations, so that once they have unity, then it will not have those segments of various political leaders also making their own political parties. The fewer we are, the better for the Zambian people to pick. We should carry them in the next, in the future.
Right. Let's quickly move on to maybe touch a bit on the economy. We have some figures that have been thrown around by government officials. The economy is showing signs of stabilization. We've been told growth is projected to be between 5 and 6%. Inflation has eased to single digit. I think we've seen that. Public debt falling after restructuring. International credit ratings have also improved under the IMF program. Given these indicators, what exactly is the economic crisis that, would still make you, as Mr. or President Harry Kalaba, to continue saying the country requires a change of government?
The country requires a change of government on many fronts. One of the fronts is the insincerity of our leaders to begin shouting 5 to 6% projection in terms of economic growth when we have been having load shedding this country as never seen before. Nick, I was on this program, if you remember, and I told you that the load shedding we are experiencing was deliberate. You remember? I was telling you that they are exporting power to South Africa through the SADC Power Pool Agreement. They were exporting power to Namibia. The Namibian minister even came to thank us here. At a time when we are in darkness, complete darkness, he came to thank us. And the vice president, without shame, was busy saying, no, we'll continue giving you power. We have been giving power to the DRC Congo. We have been giving power to Malawi. Now, you were exporting power all of a sudden when they're 6 months before the elections. The chief government spokesperson was quoted. He was on media here telling you that it takes 3 months, or is it 5 months, for water to move from Kalene Hills to go into the Zambezi down there in Livingstone. That's what he was telling us. How come all of a sudden we have water in the Caribbean, now there is power? It is because the power deficit we had in this country was fake. And because it was fake, it was easy to correct it. So that now they can come and tell you, no, Shina is low Kariba. All of a sudden. These are people who have no heart for the people of Zambia. Abani bakashika bomi. Na bona wala businesses yabantu. When you look at people that have closed their businesses, our salon, our barber shops, these people who do welding, butcheries, they will not recover from the recklessness of the UPND. And yet today you are telling me they are recording growth. You are a manager in this station. You know how much money you have lost running your gensets to be on air. Too much money you have lost buying diesel when you should not have done that. Now, 6 months to the elections, all of a sudden now there is electricity all over the show. After the elections, they will come with another funny reason. In case the Zambians made that mistake, which they will not make, I'm sure. They'll come with another reason to tell you, oh, I think we have got this problem of electricity. The thing is not working. They'll create something to continue selling power at the expense of the Zambians. That is the leadership we are coming to stop. We want a leadership that prioritizes Zambians. We want a leadership that gives Zambians an opportunity for growth. I was telling somebody today, I grew up in Luapula province. And in Luapula province, I knew that there was Fines Bulawayo, who was our MCC there. There was also Mary Flano, who came to be MCC for Luapula province. And we all knew Humphrey Mulemba. We knew Mungoni Liso. We knew Grezolo. We knew... Little did I know where they were even coming from. We didn't even care about where they were coming from.
Right.
Today we have been made alive of where people are coming from and who should come from that region. Our country has become divided. We are coming into government to heal the divide. We want a situation for us when we come as citizens first. If you are a district commissioner appointed from Kasama, go and serve in Mongo. If you are being appointed from Ikelengi, go and serve in Mansa. If you are being appointed from Livingstone, go at least and serve in Mongo. You know, we are one Zambia, one nation, and we should have the capacity to go all over this nation. And the Citizens First is serious at ensuring that we do that in order to promote harmony. We have said as a country, how can you say the economy is growing? Honestly, how can you say the economy is growing when the majority of Zambian businesses have gone down? They're folded up. They're not operational. How can you say the economy is growing when large businesses are being given to outsiders? Large businesses are being given to outsiders. Other businesses, they're giving outsiders at the expense of Zambians. And those Zambians who are being given nick are those Zambians they consider to be towing the line. These are supposed to be UPND, That is again the thinking we're going to change when you come to government. For as long as you are a business person, and I want to repeat this, so Zambians can hear me right. As long as you are a business person and you have met all the credentials, you will have the opportunity to deal with government. And we have said ourselves, any tender that is $20 million and below will be reserved for Zambians. Will allow Zambians only to tender so that we can promote growth. That's how you promote growth in an economy. If we discover that a Zambian has fronted or has been fronted by a foreign firm to get that $20 million or below, they'll be charged. They'll have to answer. There'll be consequences. That is economic sabotage. There'll be consequences. We have to empower Zambians. There is no way 62 years after independence this year, we should be still talking about only other nationals should have the resources and Zambia shouldn't have. It's because the policy here. Look at Nigeria. Look at Namibia. Namibia's population, I don't know, it's only about 2.5, Nick? 2.5 million people?
Yeah, some of them.
But there are about 2 billionaires there in Namibia. Here in Zambia, you don't have. You don't have a billionaire here. Why? We have a problem here with creating wealth for our own people. Because our politicians were a businessman. Those kind of things are coming to an end. We want to ensure that we empower citizens. That is how you grow an economy. It's by making sure there is money in the hands of your people. Right now, as you and I are speaking, there's a liquidity squeeze. Farmers have not been paid. How do you expect to have a bumper harvest this year when farmers have not been paid. These people are leaving problems for the CF government. Because when we come into government, we'll find a situation where there is a backlog because of recklessness. They have got money. They have got money for Bill 7. Remember, they had money for Bill 7 and the technical committee. They had money. But they didn't have money to give civil servants. The civil servants were told, we don't have money, wait. And yet they have money. They had money to do those things. But they don't have money for what is important. It is for this reason that we are coming into government, to put a premium on what is important and remove what the excesses, remove them off. Because Zambia requires that at a defining moment such as this.
Yeah, getting back to the performance of the economy, these are figures that are out there, for you and I to access. They are public.
So what if we access the figures?
So are they?
The figures must be speaking.
What are you suggesting? Are these figures?
The figures are fake. The figures must be speaking to your pocket, Nick. There's no money in this economy. Ask anybody. There is no money in this economy because the levels of externalization of resources in this country has gone high. We need to put a lead on that. We need to allow our people to begin accessing resources. Give them businesses. That is the only way. If a mechanic has got money, repairs my vehicle, but now if I don't take my vehicle to the garage to be fixed, I don't have money, so I can't take my vehicle to the garage to be fixed. So it means the mechanic is not going to have money as well. So it means he's not going to give his wife money to go to the salon. And it means the wife is not going to buy tomato also. So it's a vicious cycle. It affects everybody in the long run. Yep. And when people begin screaming, no, they're doing well, they're doing well, they're doing well in their own pockets, not at a national level, no.
And then talking about electricity, I think there are projects that have been cited. Government has been telling us Mamba is coming on board. There are a lot of solar projects that have been implemented, and they've already, come on stream. Don't you think that is what we can attribute the improvement in the power supply to?
No. You are just saying they are coming up. Have they finished those projects?
No. I mean, a number of them have been completed.
And Nick, we are on TV here, and our people who are suffering are listening to us. Abantu balechula panse padia. And twelandira kwa abantu. Twila support fintu ifishiripo. Solar mlela ndapo. If you're talking about solar, how many Zambians can afford solar? Ngama Zambians abenga shita mapano za solar yade. Nokubika fe battery yaine na equipment wabe command. How many? There are very few people. The reason why Wakaunda created ZESCO and these people Munipi, because Wakaunda understood.
No, I think let me put the point correctly. I was referring to solar projects being undertaken by government, not at individual level. There's the Chisamba, there's the Iteji and other places.
Solar is not a reliable form of energy. Solar is not a reliable form of energy. Solar is a supplementary form of energy. What you need to grow an economy is hydropower. What you need to grow an economy is what we are proposing as Citizens First. We have said we need that nuclear power plant facility completed with a capacity of 20,000 megawatts of power to power this nation. That's what we need. So if we'll be talking about solar plants which they are commissioning and coal which we want them to be practical so that industries can begin running here the way industries were running before. That is not happening. So these people have failed, and they can't just come and tell us, no, the economy is growing because we are doing solar. After you create a crisis in hydropower, then you start saying we are doing solar. Please, begin taking the people seriously. But I'm happy in all this because the people of Zambia have seen through them. I mean, Zambia for HVLH, they have seen through them, and now they know these people cannot stay here again this year. They are a one-term government.
Right. Again, we're being told that Zambia's debt restructuring, and the IMF program have restored a level of international confidence Yeah. And fiscal discipline. If you were in office
Are
today,
you sure there's financial fiscal discipline?
Well, I mean,
in the way things are happening. And Nick, you've been in government.
Let's go. I'll give you a chance to respond to that. If you were in government, would you maintain the IMF economic path, or would you change course? If so, what would you put in place of that?
There are various factors that will make us review the IMF situation. First of all, the reason why countries go to multilateral bodies like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank are that they don't have resources within their own countries. So they need to go and borrow so that they can come and generate more capital. Right. Zambia is endowed with a lot of resources. We have got gold in Mfumbwe, gold in Munilunga, gold in Kasenseli, in Impika, gold. We've got gold deposits everywhere that have been found. Mm-hmm. We have got emeralds on the copper belt. We've got copper all over Zambia. We have got cobalt all over Zambia. And yet, we are still going to the World Bank and IMF to borrow. That is wrong. That is wrong. We need to close the financial seepages in the mining sector. We have to close those seepages.
Where are those seepages?
In the mining sector.
Yeah, how exactly is that
At
happening?
the point of exporting our products, we need to know what is being mined and what is being exported should be speaking to one another. You and I know very well that there are times that the Bank of Zambia have given us figures that have been disputed at some point by countries that bought from us. Mm-hmm. The Chinese, for instance, had given a different figure of the copper they had imported from Zambia. And yet what we recorded here as being exported was less than what the Chinese declared there. Those are financial seepages. Now you can imagine, we always talk about copper. Copper today is being sold, I think it's about $10,000 per metric ton.
More than that, I think.
Maybe $10,000, $12,000 per metric ton. Mm-hmm. Cobalt is about $33,000 per metric ton. And yet we keep talking about copper. Where is the cobalt? So if we begin taking stock of our minerals, gold itself is over $100,000 per kilo, right?
Yes.
$100,000 per kilo. Look at the enormous resources that we have that we are shy to take stock of. If we were serious with management, we would not be saying exterminate the illegal miners or what. We would be saying, can we sit down and see how best we can get benefits from these so-called illegal miners? How do we harness the potential which is there? How do we legalize these people? How does government begin buying these minerals for themselves and begin offsetting the debt that we are getting from the IMF? Why should Zambia be given $1.2 billion by the IMF and in tranches, and you are calling it international or donor confidence as a reason? Because they are giving you go and borrow $1.2 billion. And they say we'll be giving you every 3 months $400 million. Why would you be getting $400 million every 3 months when you can make that $400 million within a space of 2 months, within a space of a month? You can make it yourselves because you have got the resources. What we don't have in this country is leadership. Twalikwata abantu abalanda fye ekiwo n'ekisungu batumwenso. And also, they're involved in businesses that are going to advantage themselves. All these things will come to an end when the CF comes into government.
Yeah, I heard you talk about the so-called illegal miners that were just removed from where they were operating from. Yeah. I would like to pick your mind as citizens first. How would you have handled that kind of situation?
What we would have done ourselves as citizens first is we would not have been doing it from Lusaka. And that's what we have said. If you have found that they have discovered gold, kuda ku Mufumbwe, go and open a cadastre office in Mufumbwe. Move out from here, Lusaka. Be serious. Go to Mufumbwe and open a cadastre office and begin helping the people there to issue them with licenses. But if you are stuck here in Lusaka and calling Mama phone, you can't help the people like that. Once you discover a wealth like that, it is something that should benefit your people. It is something that should benefit your people. So you sit down with them. Moneni, there are supposed to be safety measures to be put in place. And what we are going to do is we are going to have a workshop, a training for all of you. Can you now first apply? All of you. Can we have all those? You somehow even put them in different sections to train them. And you see, okay, we are going to issue none. The moment you issue those people with all those licenses, the levels of revenue for government increase. And that is an advantage to you. But if you go and remove them, in ulama industry, there are no industries in this country. Where would they go and work?
Won't they need to be removed first for you to be able to do what you've just...
Why will you remove them? Why will you remove them first like criminals? Because what you should have done in the beginning is to have a word with them. Properly have a word with them and manage them properly, instead of saying we are coming there to exterminate. You can't use such ways on your people. Defenseless. People are not armed against you. Those are your citizens. You were elected for those people. And once elected for those people, it is now your job to see how best can we take care of these people, as opposed to threatening them and using force against your own people. Empower your people. That's why they voted for you. Not threatening them all the time. I'm a lie you didn't give them. You've destroyed their businesses. Jobs, there are no jobs in this country. Everything is expensive in this country. I mean, I want your plan B to go and start raising revenue in Mufumbwe at Waisano Wokwin. If a chava, that is wrong.
Right, but we need to have order in the country.
I am not saying there should be no order, but it is the manner in which they are doing it which is wrong.
Right, okay.
They should have told people, we are giving you 6 months, for instance. Within the period of 3 months, can you please move out so that we can train you? And we promise you after 3 months of your moving out, within the next 3 months, we'll issue with licenses so that you can go and begin working. That is how you deal with your citizens.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's just go back a bit to a bit of politics. No,
everything we're doing is politics.
There are reports of a conference slated for the 19th, 21st February in Lusaka, where the opposition, I think political parties, some civic leaders and other stakeholders are expected to forge a unified government, so-called government in waiting, ahead of the 2026 general elections. This is under what they're calling or being referred to as a Council of Elders for Ethical Leadership, Democracy and Development, being chaired by former Chief Justice Lombechiwe Sakunda. I don't know if you're part of this in any way, and what would you say about such an initiative?
First of all, it's difficult for me to say anything about such an initiative because I don't know what is up to. We are yet to know more about it, so we are yet to be informed. I'm not aware about it. I don't know that there's even a workshop. I'm hearing it from you.
It's a conference. I don't know.
Is it a conference or what?
They are calling it a conference.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't know whether it's a workshop or a conference or anything. Yeah. I don't know really. And so it's difficult to talk to it. I am engrossed in ensuring that we put our party on the wheels for August.
It involves political parties, opposition political parties. So
I have not yet received the invitation
thought you had
letter.
already been contacted.
No, I've not received the invitation letter. I'm not invited.
Okay.
So at least for now, I'm not invited yet.
Yeah, but this is a group of prominent citizens or elderly citizens. You heard I said it's being chaired by the former Chief Justice. There are several others like Akashamba Twambikosita Lewanika, Mbita Chitala, and all those, trying to bring the opposition together, the civic leaders and other stakeholders, so that they can have a consolidated kind of opposition in readiness for the elections in 2026. So I thought you could have a comment on such an initiative.
Well, I have very limited to say on that because, as I've told you, I am yet to be invited, first of all, for that same meeting. And secondly, I am yet to be availed the agenda of the same meeting. And thirdly, I am yet to know who the real conveners are behind that meeting. So it's difficult for me really to say something on a project that I'm not really well informed about.
Well, I thought I'd given a synopsis of what
it's all about.
And,
based
on that, you could have maybe commented as a politician.
No,
it involves an opposition political party like yours, Mr. Kalaba.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm waiting for my invitation. I'm just telling you.
It's not an invitation for you to be able to comment. The invitation is for the conference.
No,
But
I'm saying
this body,
I have not yet received the invitation for that conference.
I am referring to the initiative, President Kalaba.
What initiative?
This kind of approach to solving what is seen to be a problem, where you have senior citizens leading the opposition, leading civic leaders, to say, come before the elections, let's...
If something, Nick, is being done in good faith, there's nothing wrong with it. If it is being done in good faith, if it is being done above board, there's nothing wrong with it. What only becomes a problem is if there are ulterior motives to something, then there's a problem. But as I said, we have to wait and see. Okay. And let's cross the bridge when we reach there.
All right. I want to end here. I think in 1 minute, could you speak to that voter who believes opposition leaders are putting themselves before the country?
Well, what I can say to my sisters and brothers, my fathers, my mothers out there, is that Zambia has reached a time that is very difficult for our country. We are at the crossroads as a people, and it is time that we made our resolve clear. We are not going back, and neither are we going to maintain the status quo that has failed us this time. It is time for us now to look at leaders that are giving us alternatives for this country. We have tried enough. It's time to do it. And the Citizens First is saying, work with us. Join the Citizens First wherever you are. You can reach out to our people. Marjorie Mutakwa on 0977 779133. 0977 779133. Or you can also call our Secretary General, Mr. Vincent Chintu, on 0977 414274. 0977 414274. Then you're going to reach us. Thank you very much for hosting us. Oh, by the way, I always forget this number. I think they should also talk to Philemon in Kabwe, Central Province. 0977 432211. 0977 432211. We are here for you. We are here to listen. We are here to defend your interests, and we will defend your interests without fearing anybody along the way.
Well, Mr. Harry Kalaba, President of the Citizens Party, thank you so much for joining us on Oxygen of Democracy.